Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin with a truth that may surprise you. The man or woman who keeps calm under pressure is not superhuman. They are simply prepared. They have trained their mind to remain still, just as one would train a muscle. Calmness is not an accident. It is a decision backed by discipline. In life, challenges are not the exception. They are the rule. Traffic jams, failures, betrayals, financial losses, broken promises. These are not signs that you're off course. These are the proving grounds of your character. Now listen carefully. The one who learns to stay calm, especially when others panic, becomes a leader by default. People follow those who do not lose control. Why? Because they see in them something they wish they had certainty. Staying calm isn't about ignoring emotions. It's about mastering them. It's about deciding that your inner world will not be dictated by the chaos of the outer world. When your mind is calm, your judgment is sharp, and when your judgment is sharp, your actions become powerful. Now, let's talk about the second part of our title, Act as You Are the Best. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. You must walk, speak, and think as the person you desire to become. Why? Because the subconscious mind cannot distinguish between reality and a vividly imagined identity. If you walk like a leader, think like a winner, and act with excellence, your mind, and the world will adjust accordingly. Great men and women did not wait for the world to approve of them. They approved of themselves first. They carried themselves with belief, not because they had achieved everything yet, but because they decided to become the best version of themselves. And that decision changed everything. To stay calm in any situation, you must believe in yourself. And to believe in yourself, you must act like the best even before you feel like it. Success doesn't come first. Confidence does. In conclusion, remember this: when life pressures you, slow your breathing. When your emotions rise, let silence speak first. When doubt knocks, answer with action. And when the world tells you to break down, stand up taller. You were not born to be controlled by circumstances. You were born to command them. So stay calm, walk with power, and act as if you are the best, because with the right mindset, you already are. Thank you. Calmness is not something you are born with, it is something you build. No one enters this world equipped with the unwavering stillness of mind required to withstand pressure, criticism, failure, and conflict. Calmness must be forged just as steel is forged, under heat with precision and through repeated effort. It is not a gift handed to the fortunate. It is a tool carved by the determined. Many people believe that some individuals are naturally calm. They say things like, he's just laid back, or she doesn't let things get to her. But this is a misunderstanding. What appears to be natural ease is almost always the result of mental conditioning. It is the product of choices made consistently over time. Choices to remain still when others lash out, to reflect before reacting, and to focus on what can be controlled instead of being consumed by what cannot. Think about this: when you see a professional athlete perform under pressure, delivering excellence in front of thousands, do you assume they were simply born to do it? Of course not. You understand that they practiced. They rehearsed those moments, visualized them, and trained their muscles to respond under stress. The mind is no different. Calmness is not the absence of stress. It is mastery over your response to stress. The truth is that everyone experiences emotional turbulence: fear, anger, worry, frustration. These emotions come for us all, but the person who trains their mind can stand in the middle of a storm and still make wise decisions. They do not allow their emotional state to dictate their behavior. They are not free from emotion, but they are free from being ruled by it. That is the difference, and it makes all the difference. To develop calmness, you must first recognize its value. In times of crisis, calmness becomes your greatest asset. It protects you from making poor decisions, saying the wrong things, or burning bridges that cannot be rebuilt. A calm mind sees opportunities that a chaotic mind will miss. When your emotions are out of control, you become reactive instead of proactive. But when your mind is steady, you can think clearly, lead others, and solve problems with precision. This training begins with awareness. You must learn to observe your thoughts before acting on them. When something provokes you, an insult, a failure, a delay, your first instinct is often emotional. The untrained mind reacts immediately. The trained mind pauses. It asks, is this worth my energy? What outcome do I want here? Will reacting emotionally serve me or sabotage me? This space between stimulus and response is where calmness lives. And the more you choose it, the more natural it becomes. Breathing is one of the simplest and most effective tools for cultivating calm. Under pressure, the breath becomes shallow and fast. This triggers the nervous system to believe there is a threat. But deep, controlled breathing sends a signal to the brain that says, I am safe, I am in control. This calms the body and clears the mind. Every time you choose to breathe instead of react, you reinforce your control over the situation. This is how mastery is built, one decision at a time. Another key is the language you use with yourself. The internal dialogue of a calm person is different from that of someone who is always anxious or reactive. When adversity hits, the calm individual says, this is a challenge, not a catastrophe. I will deal with it step by step. The reactive mind says, this is terrible, I can't handle this. Your words are instructions to your subconscious. If you speak panic, you create panic. If you speak calm, you create calm. Repetition is crucial. You don't become calm by reading a quote or listening to a speech. You become calm by practicing calmness in daily situations. Someone cuts you off in traffic, stay composed. An unexpected bill arrives, breathe and plan. Someone criticizes you unfairly, don't take the bait. Each of these moments is a rep in the gym of the mind. The more you choose calm, the stronger that muscle becomes. Remember this always. Calmness is a decision you make repeatedly until it becomes who you are. It is not about pretending nothing bothers you. It is about knowing that you are bigger than what bothers you. And once you truly understand that, there is no situation you cannot face with power and poise. In moments of peace, everyone can appear composed. It is easy to smile, easy to speak wisely, and easy to look in control when nothing is going wrong. But life is not measured in times of comfort. It is measured in how you respond when the pressure is on. And it is in these moments when others are anxious, confused, or afraid that true leadership is born. Leadership does not arise from position, title, or wealth. It emerges from the ability to stay calm when others cannot. When crisis strikes, people instinctively look around for direction. They seek someone, anyone, who seems to know what to do. And the one who remains calm, the one who breathes steadily while others panic, becomes the natural leader. Not because they forced it, but because calm is magnetic. It commands trust. It radiates strength. People follow those who make them feel safe, and safety is found in stillness, not in frenzy. Imagine a burning building. People are shouting, running, making rash decisions. In the middle of this chaos stands one person, clear-eyed, composed, issuing calm instructions. Without hesitation, others follow that voice. Why? Because calm implies control, and control implies safety. The same pattern repeats in business, in families, in politics, in war. The person who keeps their head when all others are losing theirs is not just respected. They are relied upon. But this is not about pretending to be calm. It is about building the inner stability that allows calm to be real. When a person has trained their mind, studied their emotions, and prepared themselves mentally, they do not need to fake composure. They are composed, and that authenticity cannot be faked or imitated. It is recognized immediately by others, and it elevates the person from a participant in the crisis to a leader of the solution. Now consider this. Leadership is not just for managers or executives. Every person is called to lead in some part of their life, whether it be in their home, among friends, in a classroom, or even within their own thoughts. The ability to lead begins with the ability to master yourself. Before you can influence others, you must command your own emotions. You must become the anchor in turbulent waters. You must be the voice of reason when everyone else is shouting doubt. Calmness in crisis communicates more than words ever could. It says, I am not afraid. It says, we will find a way through this. It says, there is a path forward and I am willing to walk it. This unspoken message is what inspires confidence, and confidence, not control, is what fuels true leadership. People do not want to be forced forward. They want to be led forward by someone who believes deeply in the outcome, even when the outcome is uncertain. A crisis reveals what is hidden. It strips away pretense. It exposes the weak and elevates the strong. It brings out the truth of a person's character, and this is why many who seem powerful in good times vanish when hardship strikes, because they were never truly prepared. But the one who has practiced discipline, who has cultivated focus, who has rehearsed setbacks in the theater of the mind, they do not falter. They rise, and in rising, they inspire others to rise with them. Leadership through calm is not loud. It does not boast. It does not command attention. It does not shout orders. Instead, it speaks clearly. It acts decisively. It listens fully. It adapts swiftly. It brings order to disorder, not through fear, but through presence. And that presence is built long before the crisis ever arrives. It is built in silence, in study, in reflection, in sacrifice, in challenge. It is built when no one is watching, so that when everyone is watching, it cannot be shaken. Every crisis carries with it an opportunity for someone to lead, and that someone can be you, but only if you prepare, only if you choose calm when it's hard, only if you practice restraint when your emotions beg for release. Only if you build the habits of focus, the patterns of courage, and the voice of steady assurance that others long to hear when they are uncertain. So the next time you face a situation where the world seems to spin too fast, remember, you don't have to control the storm. You only have to control yourself, and if you do that, if you stand still when others tremble, you will not have to call yourself a leader. Others will call you one because you earned it not through authority, but through calm. There is a common misunderstanding in the world today, one that causes many people to shrink, to hesitate, to second-guess themselves. It is the belief that acting confident before you have achieved something is arrogance. That carrying yourself with the posture of greatness is pretending, but this is not arrogance. It is identity formation. You are not pretending to be something you're not. You are stepping into who you are becoming. This is a fundamental principle of personal growth and success. The mind does not operate solely on what is true in the present. It responds to what is repeatedly affirmed. When you act like the best, when you move with intention, speak with clarity, and believe in your capacity, you are sending a message to your subconscious. This is who I am now. The subconscious mind begins aligning your behavior, decisions, habits, and expectations with that identity. And in time, reality catches up to belief. Understand this: every successful person you admire began as an unknown, unsure, unproven individual. They did not wait until the world told them they were great. They acted with greatness first. They believed in their vision before there was evidence. They invested in themselves before others saw the value. Why? Because they understood that if they didn't believe in themselves, no one else would. The world reflects back what you show it. If you carry yourself like someone worthy of respect, opportunity, and success, the world begins to respond to you that way. There is power in posture. There is influence in intention. The way you dress, the way you walk, the way you speak, these are not superficial. They are signals not only to others but to yourself. If you wake up and present yourself as someone who takes life seriously, your mind rises to match the message. If you speak with conviction, your thoughts become more focused. If you act like the best in your field, you begin to seek out the habits, information, and routines that the best use. Identity formation begins with action, not with achievement. This does not mean pretending to know everything or faking competence you do not have. It means carrying yourself as someone who is committed to becoming excellent. It means holding yourself to a higher standard, even when no one is watching. It means refusing to shrink back into comfort just because the world has not yet recognized your potential. The internal shift must come before the external reward. You cannot outperform your own self-image. So if you want to elevate your results, you must first elevate your identity. You will be tested for this decision. People may mock your confidence. They may accuse you of being too ambitious or too full of yourself. But understand this: most people are uncomfortable with confidence because they've never developed it themselves. They confuse self-belief with ego because they've only seen ego in the absence of true substance. But you are not here to impress others. You are here to become the fullest expression of your potential, and that journey begins the moment you stop waiting for permission to act like it. Greatness leaves clues. Study the best in your field. Observe how they think, how they make decisions, how they treat others, how they plan their day, how they show up consistently. Then begin to model those behaviors, not because you're copying, but because you are conditioning yourself to become that kind of person. The fastest way to change your life is to change your standard, and you do that by changing how you show up every single day. There is a gap between who you are and who you want to be. That gap is not closed by time. It is closed by identity. If you continue to act like your past, you will continue to live your past. But if you act like your future will begin to take form. Speak like the person you want to become. Think like them, make decisions like them, hold your head like them, not someday, now, today. Because identity is not something you wait to adopt until success shows up. It is the reason success shows up. When you believe in your value and behave in alignment with it, doors open, people take notice, opportunities appear, the world begins to make room for you, not because you demanded it, but because you demonstrated it. When you act like the best, you are not claiming perfection. You are claiming potential. You are not saying you have arrived. You are declaring your direction, and there is nothing arrogant about moving boldly toward who you were born to become. The human mind is a powerful instrument, capable of building empires or destroying potential, all depending on what it is fed. But among all the parts of the mind, the subconscious is the most influential and the most underestimated. Unlike the conscious mind, which reasons, calculates, and reacts to immediate information, the subconscious mind accepts what it is told, especially what is repeated with emotion and conviction. It does not sort between true or false, earned or unearned, possible or impossible. It only asks, do you believe this? And once belief is established, the subconscious begins shaping your reality to match it. This is why external validation, approval from others, recognition, applause is never enough to build lasting confidence. The moment that validation fades, doubt creeps in. The praise may excite the conscious mind for a moment, but the subconscious remains unchanged unless you believe what is being said. Real confidence, real transformation, begins when you decide to believe in yourself without needing evidence from the outside world. You can receive every award, every compliment, every reassurance, but if the subconscious mind is still holding on to an identity of inadequacy, fear, or limitation, those external affirmations will never stick. It will be like pouring water into a cup with a hole in the bottom. It leaks, it cannot hold the power that's being given to it. But if the belief is internal, rooted in your own conviction, then even in the absence of praise or results, your identity remains firm. You move forward not because the world agrees with you, but because you have already decided who you are. The subconscious mind governs your habits, your patterns, your default reactions. It is responsible for the quiet decisions you make every day without thinking, whether to speak or stay silent, whether to try or withdraw, whether to believe in opportunity or anticipate failure. These are not random impulses. They are the product of your dominant beliefs. If you believe you are not good enough, you will subconsciously sabotage opportunities. If you believe you are capable, worthy, and resourceful, you will find ways to succeed, even when it's hard. And that's the difference belief makes, but this belief must be self-directed. It must come from within. Waiting for the world to tell you who you are is a dangerous game, because the world is inconsistent, fickle, and often blind to potential. Sometimes the people closest to you will be the last to believe in your vision. If you need their approval to move forward, you may never move at all. You must learn to validate yourself. Not with ego or arrogance, but with a calm, steady certainty that says, I am becoming something great, and I choose to believe it now. The subconscious is reprogrammed through repetition and emotional intensity. This means you must feed it daily with the identity you want to create. Through affirmations, through visualization, through decisive action, you begin to install a new belief system. You tell your mind what to believe, and you prove it with your behavior. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, every time you do the hard thing, every time you follow through, You reinforce a message. I can be trusted. I am capable. I am enough. This process is not instant. It requires commitment. It requires patience. But the results are profound. Because once the subconscious accepts a belief, it begins to reshape everything to support it. Your perception changes. Your standards rise. Your associations shift. Your goals expand. You begin to see opportunities where before you saw obstacles. You move differently, speak differently, think differently. Not because the world has changed, but because you have. Understand this, your subconscious mind is always listening. It listens to how you talk about yourself. It listens to what you accept, what you tolerate, what you dream of. If you constantly talk about your limitations, your failures, your fears, your mind takes that as a directive. It begins reinforcing those ideas in your daily life. But if you speak with purpose, if you declare your direction with faith and discipline, your subconscious goes to work building that reality. It attracts ideas, energy, and people that match what you believe. Many people live small lives not because they lack potential, but because they never trained their mind to believe in something greater. They wait to feel ready, they wait for signs, they wait for applause. But greatness doesn't come to those who wait, it comes to those who believe first. You must be the one to speak life over your vision. You must be the one to decide that your value is not determined by current circumstances, but by the commitment to become more. The subconscious mind responds to belief, so choose your beliefs wisely. Emotions are among the most powerful forces in human experience. They have the ability to lift us to extraordinary heights or drag us into destructive depths. But to master your life, you must first learn to master your emotions, not by suppressing them, but by understanding their proper role. Emotions are not commands, they are signals. They are indicators, not instructors. And the difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck often lies in how they respond to those emotional signals. Fear, anger, sadness, doubt. These emotions do not mean you are broken. They mean you are human. Every feeling you experience is trying to tell you something. Fear may be pointing to something unfamiliar. Anger may be signaling a perceived injustice. Doubt may be alerting you to uncertainty. But none of these emotions automatically mean you should stop, quit, lash out, or retreat. You must pause and interpret the emotion rather than obey it blindly. Just as a traffic light tells you when to proceed, slow down, or stop, your emotions tell you to pay attention. But it is your mind that must decide what action to take. If you allow emotions to dictate your decisions, your life will become chaotic and reactive. You will chase comfort and avoid challenge. You will seek approval and avoid rejection. You will make short-term decisions that sabotage your long-term goals. This is what happens to people who live on emotional autopilot. They feel discouraged and assume they should give up. They feel offended and assume they must respond with anger. But emotions left unchecked are poor advisors. They speak in urgency, not wisdom. They demand action, not reflection. But the wisest among us know that the presence of emotion is not a command to move. It is a cue to think. Learning to observe your emotions without becoming them is one of the highest forms of mental discipline. When you feel overwhelmed, it is not the emotion that is dangerous. It is the reaction to that emotion. Between the feeling and the action, there is a space, and in that space lies your power. You can use that moment to breathe, to analyze, to ask better questions. What is this emotion telling me? Is this threat real or imagined? Is this response helping me or hurting me? Those who rise above emotional chaos are not those who feel less. They are those who reflect more. Your emotions are messengers, not masters. Their job is to inform you. Your job is to decide. Imagine if every time you felt tired, you quit, or every time you felt doubt, you changed direction, or every time you felt fear, you backed away. You would never build anything meaningful. Every great achievement in history was made by someone who felt powerful emotions and kept going anyway. They felt fear and stepped forward. They felt pain and kept building. They felt uncertainty and chose faith. Their mastery did not come from emotional silence. It came from emotional strength. This strength must be cultivated daily. It is not enough to say, "I won't be controlled by emotions." You must train your mind to respond differently when emotions arise. This is done through awareness, through journaling, through meditation, through practice in real moments of tension. When frustration hits, you pause. When envy arises, you acknowledge it without judgment. When panic begins to swell, you breathe and ground yourself in the facts. Every time you do this, you prove to your subconscious that you are in charge, not the emotion. There is wisdom in emotion, but only for the person who pauses long enough to hear it. Emotion says, pay attention, but wisdom replies, let me decide. When you feel jealousy, it may be telling you that you've neglected your own goals. When you feel anger, it might be revealing a boundary that needs attention. When you feel sadness, it may be asking you to let go of something that no longer serves you. But these emotions only lead to growth when they are examined, not when they are obeyed like reflexes. Too many people let temporary emotions create permanent damage. They end relationships in a moment of anger. They abandon dreams in a season of discouragement. They burn bridges over wounds that could have healed. But this is not strength. It is emotional impulsiveness. True strength is the ability to feel deeply without being driven recklessly. It is the calm in the middle of intensity. It is the thoughtful pause that separates the person who reacts from the person who leads. You were not born to be ruled by emotion. You were born to rule with wisdom. You were given emotions to experience life fully, not to be enslaved by them. And once you understand that emotions are just information, not instructions, you reclaim the steering wheel of your life. You begin to lead yourself with clarity, purpose, and direction, no matter what you feel in the moment. In every moment of pressure, confusion, or adversity, you are being given a choice not to control the world, but to control yourself. Calm is not weakness, it is strength under control. Leadership is not granted. It is assumed by those who remain composed when others fall apart. Identity is not inherited. It is built through the consistent act of believing in yourself before others do. Your subconscious is not waiting for proof. It is waiting for your permission to create the life you truly want. And your emotions are not your enemies. They are your signals. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the author of your response. So stand tall, act like the best because it is not arrogance, it is training. Believe like the best because your mind follows your belief. Lead like the best because calmness commands confidence. And above all, live like the best, not someday but now, because the world responds not to what you feel or what you fear, but to what you decide to be. The time to decide is now.